Most people think deep work is about discipline. It's not. Discipline is unreliable. Environment is everything. If your phone is within reach, your brain is already divided. If your notifications are active, your creativity is leaking attention every second. And if your workspace is filled with noise, clutter, and digital chaos, your mind will never enter the state where elite-level ideas are born. Today, you're going to learn the Deep Work Protocol, a system designed to engineer an environment so powerful that focus becomes automatic. By the end of this video, you will understand how top performers create mental isolation, how creative experts protect cognitive energy, and how you can rewire your brain for extreme concentration without relying on motivation. Because the highest level of creative output does not come from working harder. It comes from eliminating everything that weakens your attention. Right now, your brain is under attack. Every notification, every tab, every vibration in your pocket, every random conversation in the background. These are not small distractions. They are neurological interruptions. Modern technology has trained your brain to crave novelty instead of depth. That is why most people cannot sit in silence for 10 minutes without reaching for stimulation. And here's the dangerous part. Every time your focus breaks, your brain pays a recovery cost. Research shows that after a distraction, it can take more than 20 minutes to fully return to the original cognitive state. Think about that. One quick glance at your phone can destroy an entire chain of deep thinking. That means many people spend their whole day working without ever reaching true mental depth. This is why average work creates average results. But deep work changes everything. When your brain enters uninterrupted concentration, neural networks begin synchronizing at a higher level. Creativity increases, memory sharpens, complex problem-solving accelerates, time starts disappearing, and you enter what psychologists call a flow state, the biological condition where human beings produce their absolute best work. The problem is that most people are trying to achieve deep work inside environments designed for distraction. You cannot create extraordinary output in a chaotic system. So the first step of the Deep Work Protocol is environmental control. Your environment is not just physical, it is neurological. Every object in your room sends signals to your brain. Clutter signals unfinished tasks. Open apps signal temptation. Noise signals alertness. Your brain absorbs all of it subconsciously. That means if your room is chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. Elite creators understand this instinctively. They reduce friction between themselves and focus. Clean desk, controlled lighting, minimal digital interference. One task, one mission, one cognitive target. Because attention is a finite biological resource, and every unnecessary stimulus drains it. The first thing you must control is information intake. Start with your workspace. Remove anything unrelated to the task you are about to perform. Not tomorrow, not later, immediately. Your brain performs better when the visual field is simplified. Fewer distractions mean lower cognitive load. Lower cognitive load means deeper concentration. Now look at your phone. This device is the greatest attention extraction machine ever created. Social media platforms are engineered using behavioral psychology. Variable rewards, dopamine loops, infinite scrolling. Your attention is being monetized every second you stay connected. So during deep work sessions, your phone cannot remain near you. Not silent mode, not face down on the desk, physically outside the room. Because your brain does not need to touch the phone to become distracted. It only needs to know the phone exists nearby. Even the anticipation of a notification fragments mental focus. This is not weakness, this is neuroscience. And once you understand that, you stop blaming yourself and start designing systems that protect your mind instead of sabotaging it. The second stage of the Deep Work Protocol is psychological isolation. Most people remove distractions physically, but they never eliminate them mentally. Their body is sitting at the desk, but their mind is still scrolling through unfinished conversations, stress, social media memories, and random mental noise. Deep work cannot happen when your attention is emotionally fragmented. Your brain needs a transition ritual. Elite performers never jump directly into high-level cognitive work. They prepare the nervous system first, because the brain does not instantly switch from stimulation mode into creation mode. It must be guided there deliberately. This is where most people fail. They wake up, check notifications, consume information for an hour, overload dopamine receptors, and then expect their brain to suddenly perform deep intellectual work. That is biologically impossible. The brain becomes reactive instead of intentional. So the protocol begins before the work even starts. The quality of your attention is directly connected to the quality of what enters your mind. If your morning begins with chaos, your focus will carry that chaos for the rest of the day. This is why high-level creators protect the first hour after waking like their future depends on it. Because it does. No social media, no endless messages, no random videos, no unnecessary stimulation. Instead, the brain must enter stillness. Silence is not empty. Silence is neurological recovery. It allows your cognitive system to stabilize before external noise invades your attention. Even 10 minutes of quiet breathing can dramatically lower mental clutter and improve executive function. Then comes the activation phase. Before every deep work session, you need a mental trigger that tells the brain, now we enter focus mode. This could be instrumental music, a specific desk setup, a certain lighting condition, a cup of coffee prepared the same way every time. Repetition creates neural association. Over time, your brain begins linking these patterns with concentration automatically. This is exactly how athletes prepare before competition. And deep work is a mental competition. The next element is time protection. Most people attempt focus in broken fragments, 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, constant interruptions that never allows the brain to descend into cognitive depth. Deep work requires uninterrupted blocks long enough for the mind to fully immerse itself. At first, aim for 60 minutes, not multitasking, not checking notifications, not switching tabs every few minutes. One target, total immersion. Because the human brain performs best when cognitive energy flows toward a single objective. Multitasking is not productivity, it is rapid attention switching, and every switch burns mental energy. This is why mentally exhausted people often feel busy all day without creating meaningful output. Their attention is scattered across too many directions. Now here is something powerful most people never realize. Your brain adapts to the level of focus you repeatedly demand from it. If you constantly interrupt yourself, your concentration span weakens. But if you consistently train deep focus, your brain begins strengthening neural pathways related to sustained attention. Over time, concentration becomes easier, faster, and more natural. You are literally training your mind like a muscle, and this changes your entire creative capacity. Because once the brain escapes constant distraction, something incredible happens. Ideas become clearer. Thinking becomes sharper. Complex connections appear faster. Creativity expands. You stop reacting to information and start generating original thought. That is the difference between consumers and creators. Consumers absorb noise, creators produce signal, and the modern world is designed to keep you consuming forever. That is why deep work is becoming a superpower. Very few people can still think deeply. Very few people can sit alone with a difficult problem long enough to solve it creatively. Most people escape discomfort before breakthrough happens, but breakthrough always exists on the other side of sustained focus. And in the next part, we are going to engineer the biological side of deep work. The hidden relationship between energy, dopamine, brain chemistry, and elite cognitive performance. The third stage of the deep work protocol is biological optimization. Because focus is not just psychological, it is chemical. Your ability to think clearly, create powerfully, and sustain concentration is directly connected to the condition of your brain and nervous system. Most people try to force productivity while their biology is working against them. Poor sleep, constant dopamine overload, mental fatigue, energy crashes, inflammation, digital overstimulation. Then they wonder why deep work feels impossible. The brain is not a machine, it is a living biological system. And if that system is exhausted, distracted, or chemically imbalanced, high-level creative output cannot happen consistently. This is why elite performers obsess over energy management, because deep work requires enormous metabolic power. Your brain consumes massive amounts of energy during intense concentration. When cognitive demand increases, glucose utilization increases, neurotransmitter activity increases, neural communication accelerates, and if your biological foundation is weak, mental performance collapses faster than you realize. The first variable is sleep. Sleep is not rest. Sleep is neurological reconstruction. During deep sleep, the brain clears metabolic waste, stabilizes emotional processing, strengthens memory consolidation, and restores cognitive function. Without proper recovery, attention span decreases, reaction speed slows, and creative thinking deteriorates dramatically. One night of poor sleep can reduce focus more than most people understand. And here's the dangerous part. Sleep deprivation increases impulsive behavior. That means the tired brain becomes more vulnerable to distraction, dopamine cravings, and instant gratification. In other words, lack of sleep weakens your ability to enter deep work in the first place. This is why exhausted people constantly reach for stimulation. Their brain is searching for artificial energy. Now combine that with modern dopamine overload, social media, short-form content, notifications, endless scrolling, fast entertainment. Every one of these triggers rapid dopamine spikes. And over time, the brain becomes conditioned to expect constant novelty. This destroys sustained attention because deep work feels slow at first, and a dopamine-addicted brain hates slowness. That is why many people sit down to focus and suddenly feel uncomfortable after only a few minutes. Their nervous system has been trained to crave stimulation every second. Silence begins feeling unnatural. But silence is exactly where deep thinking begins. So the protocol requires dopamine recalibration. Reduce unnecessary stimulation outside work sessions. Limit chaotic content consumption. Stop flooding your nervous system with endless digital input. When the brain experiences less artificial stimulation, baseline dopamine sensitivity begins recovering. And something fascinating happens. Ordinary focus starts feeling rewarding again. Books become easier to read. Thinking becomes calmer. Concentration lasts longer. Creativity deepens. Your brain slowly returns to its natural state instead of operating like a hyper-fragmented reward machine. Now let's talk about nutrition. Because the brain is an organ, and organs require fuel. Heavy processed foods, excessive sugar, and constant overeating create energy instability. Blood sugar spikes lead to crashes. Crashes reduce cognitive clarity. That means your focus becomes chemically inconsistent throughout the day. High-level performers avoid this by simplifying nutrition during work periods. Hydration matters too. Even mild dehydration can reduce attention, memory, and cognitive speed. Yet many people attempt intense mental work while physically underfueled and dehydrated. Then they blame motivation. But motivation is often biology in disguise. Now here is where the deep work protocol becomes truly powerful. Once you combine environmental control, psychological isolation, and biological optimization, your brain begins entering focus states faster and more consistently. What once felt difficult starts becoming automatic. You stop fighting distraction every minute because your entire system is now aligned toward concentration. And this creates a massive advantage in a distracted world. Most people never train their mind deeply enough to unlock their true creative capacity. They stay trapped in reaction mode their entire lives, constantly consuming, constantly interrupted, constantly mentally exhausted. But the people who master deep work operate differently. They protect attention like survival, because they understand a truth most people ignore. Your attention determines the quality of your life. Whatever controls your focus controls your future. The fourth stage of the deep work protocol is cognitive endurance. Because getting into focus is one thing. Staying there long enough to produce extraordinary work is something completely different. Most people can focus for a few minutes. Very few people can sustain deep concentration long enough for breakthrough-level thinking to emerge. And this is exactly why average minds quit before elite results appear. Your brain has a resistance barrier. The moment work becomes mentally demanding, the brain searches for escape routes. Suddenly, you feel the urge to check messages, open another tab, stand up, eat something, scroll for just 1 minute. These impulses are not random. They are survival mechanisms designed to conserve energy. Deep thinking burns energy fast, and the brain naturally prefers efficiency over effort. This is why shallow distractions feel addictive. They provide stimulation without requiring intense cognitive output. But deep work forces the brain into high neural engagement. At first, that feels uncomfortable. The mistake most people make is interpreting discomfort as a signal to stop. But discomfort is often the doorway into cognitive expansion. The first 20 to 30 minutes of deep work are usually the hardest. Your mind is still detoxing from scattered attention. Random thoughts keep appearing. Your nervous system wants novelty. This is the mental friction phase. Most people quit here, but if you push beyond it, something remarkable happens. The noise begins fading. Your thoughts become more organized. Your concentration stabilizes. Awareness narrows. Time distortion starts occurring, and the brain enters a highly synchronized state where creative processing intensifies dramatically. This is the flow threshold. And once you cross it, productivity multiplies. A single hour in true deep work can outperform an entire day of distracted effort. That is why elite creators, scientists, writers, and innovators protect uninterrupted focus with extreme seriousness. They understand that depth produces exponential returns. Now, here is something critical. Your cognitive stamina works exactly like physical endurance. If you never train it, it remains weak. A person who cannot run for 5 minutes does not suddenly complete a marathon. In the same way, a brain addicted to distraction cannot instantly sustain 4 hours of concentrated thought. Endurance must be developed progressively, so start small, 1 uninterrupted hour. Then gradually extend the duration, 90 minutes, 2 hours, longer sessions over time. The goal is not forcing the brain violently. The goal is adaptation, because repetition rewires the nervous system. Every successful deep work session teaches the brain that sustained concentration is safe, rewarding, and repeatable. Neural pathways strengthen, focus recovery becomes faster, mental resistance decreases. Eventually, concentration stops feeling forced. It becomes identity. And identity changes behavior permanently. Now let's talk about recovery, because deep work without recovery leads to cognitive burnout. High performers do not operate at maximum intensity every waking hour. They alternate between stress and restoration intelligently. After intense concentration, the brain needs decompression, walks, silence, physical movement, sleep, reflection. These recovery phases allow neural systems to reset. Without recovery, mental sharpness deteriorates. This is why some people work all day but still feel mentally weak. Their brain never fully recovers from overstimulation. The deep work protocol is not about endless grinding. It is about strategic intensity. Short periods of absolute focus are more powerful than endless hours of fragmented effort. One deeply focused session can generate ideas, solutions, and creative breakthroughs that shallow work could never produce in weeks. And here is the biggest transformation of all. When you repeatedly enter deep work, your relationship with distraction changes completely. Cheap stimulation stops feeling satisfying. Constant scrolling starts feeling mentally toxic. You begin craving clarity instead of chaos, because your brain remembers what real focus feels like. And once you experience that level of mental sharpness, ordinary distraction becomes unbearable. In the final part, we are going to bring everything together into a complete daily deep work protocol, a system you can use to engineer elite-level focus, protect your creative energy, and separate yourself from the distracted majority forever. The final stage of the deep work protocol is total system integration, because deep work is not a habit, it is a lifestyle architecture. Everything you do either strengthens your ability to focus or destroys it. Your environment, your sleep, your dopamine levels, your digital behavior, your routines, your energy management, your attention patterns. Every part of your life is shaping the condition of your mind. And the modern world is constantly pulling your brain toward fragmentation. That means if you do not intentionally build a system for focus, distraction becomes your default reality. This is why most people never reach their true creative potential. Not because they lack intelligence, because their attention is permanently divided. So here is the complete deep work protocol. The night before, prepare your environment. Clean workspace. Remove unnecessary visual clutter. Decide the exact task you will attack the next day. Clarity eliminates hesitation. When the brain wakes up knowing the mission, resistance decreases dramatically. Then protect your morning. No instant stimulation. No endless scrolling. No drowning your nervous system in noise before your brain even stabilizes. Give your mind space to wake up naturally. Hydrate. Breathe. Move your body. Allow your cognitive system to enter the day with intention instead of chaos. Then begin the transition ritual. Same music, same workspace, same sequence. Train the brain through repetition. Over time, the nervous system begins recognizing these cues automatically. Your focus state activates faster because the brain associates the ritual with concentration. Next comes the deep work block. Phone outside the room, notifications eliminated, single task only, no multitasking, no random checking behaviors, no consuming while creating. During this period, your brain has one responsibility: sustained cognitive depth. At first, resistance will appear. That is normal. Your brain has been conditioned by years of overstimulation. The urge to escape focus is part of the rewiring process. Ignore it. Stay with the discomfort long enough for the mind to stabilize. Because beyond that resistance barrier lies the highest level of human performance. This is where original ideas emerge. This is where powerful creativity is born. This is where meaningful work happens. And after the session ends, recover deliberately. Walk outside. Stretch. Breathe. Give your nervous system room to reset before re-entering stimulation. Recovery is not weakness. Recovery is what allows consistency. Now understand this carefully. The rarest skill in the modern world is uninterrupted attention. Everyone is distracted, everyone is overstimulated, everyone is mentally fragmented. But the people who can focus deeply for long periods gain an enormous advantage over society. They learn faster, create faster, solve problems faster, build faster, think clearer. And while others are drowning in noise, they are producing work that changes their lives completely. Deep work is no longer optional. It is survival for anyone who wants to perform at a high level in the modern world. And the truth is, your future will be shaped by whatever you consistently give your attention to. If your attention belongs to algorithms, distractions, and endless stimulation, your life will slowly drift wherever the world pushes you. But if you reclaim your attention, if you protect your mind, if you train yourself to enter deep cognitive focus while everyone else remains distracted, you become dangerous in the best possible way. Because a focused mind is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. And once you fully master it, there is almost nothing you cannot build, learn, or create. So starting today, stop treating attention casually. Your attention is your life force. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does.